I think it was shocking because one lump of dough like that, you can make 30 portions of noodles. So in Malaysia, we eat these noodles called banh mi. I started by rescuing this banh mi dough, and then I was trying to channel them to orphanages and old folks home. But actually, it's a very difficult process to try to cook the banh mi because you need to knead the dough, cut the dough, and then make it into noodles. So I started from my own kitchen with my helper. So yeah, it started to occur to me, wow, it's a lump of dough, but you can feed 30 people with that, just with a little bit of effort, maybe an hour a day. We rescue surplus food and then we channel them straight to the needy in the shortest time frame possible. We put a word out, and if people have events, weddings especially, after the event finishes, we'll go with containers and plastic containers, we'll pack everything and then we'll send them to the nearest needy community that we know is nearby the area. So when the pandemic started, the needy community started to call us for food. So it went the other way around. Then we went to look for kitchens to cook and to supply food to the needy. The hardest hit actually during this pandemic are the B40 communities. B40 communities in Malaysia is the bottom 40%. So there's the B40, the M40, which is the middle 40, and then the T, the top 20. But for the B40 crowd, their income is directly affected. Then they have problems putting food on the table as well. They are entirely depending on donations from the M40 people. And so when the pandemic happens, when the income of the M40 and the T40 are affected, straight away the donations to them are hit. So they also immediately get hit as well. And then of course, a lot of this group from the refugee groups, they already live day to day, even before the pandemic. So when the pandemic hit, they didn't eat for like two days. So, like I mentioned, because of the pandemic, a lot of the sales channels of the fresh produce, especially vegetables, things that go bad, eggs, and now the surprising thing is eggs, they are on the surplus side. The farmers, they're actually throwing away eggs. The first lockdown, even the morning markets were not allowed to open. A lot of the produce were going to waste because you can't tell a vegetable to stop growing, right? The vegetable will still grow, and if nobody consumes it, it goes to waste. There are a lot of food that even in its rescued form were not suitable for certain communities. So that's when we started to process. So what you see behind is, after you process them, they are still edible. And so we have found a good community who will help us to process them into very yummy meals for us to give out. It was really heartbreaking because during the first few days of the pandemic, so this particular uncle that we are serving, he has a bedridden wife and he is a vegetable seller. So during the pandemic, he was not allowed to open a shop and he had to care for his wife. And so he was really just scrambling, looking for help. And he reached out to us throughout the entire week after that. He was just calling me every morning, Bing, is there rice today? Is there food today? Like these are the things that keep us going, because there's a lot of challenges, but we just have to think about who we're serving, who is the ultimate beneficiary. That keeps us going. Yeah, and because it's worth it. Yeah, it's worth it. We know that food is just a starting point. Ultimately, we want to give them something life-changing, but the food is the first door opener. It gives us the opportunity to go into their homes. They just open the door for us to go into their homes and then to speak into their lives. So ultimately, there's still a lot more we can do for the community. amount of wastage going around the world, I think it should be sufficient to solve world hunger. So I think where we come in as people is how can we be that channel of food wastage to the hungry people.